మిత్రులారా, బంధువులారా, welcome to South Asia Maps. South Asia Maps is an education channel, intellectual Kshatriya's channel, where your presenter Dr. J. Reddy, J. Tirupati Reddy, Jagari Tirupati Reddy will try to share his 4 decades of intensive passion on Indology, Bharat Mata related studies plus human ecology, etc. Apart from my standard, the livelihood work on agriculture, crop breeding, molecular biology, biotechnology, and bioinformatics. We are continuing our rice grains on chessboard series. That means, what is the enigma? What are the consequences, intuitiveness of understanding this issue of placing one rice grain, doubling it in the next square 2, next square 4, 8, 16, so on. There are 64 squares on the chessboard. Rice grains on the chessboard series, this is part 4. In this part, we'll be talking about if you take a rice grain, assume the average width or is a length of the rice grain is around about 5 millimeters. How many rice grains we can span on the equatorial circumference? That means equator goes on a city called Singapore island state, goes around the Pacific, then in the Central America, Latin America, there is a Quito town on the Ecuador country, and so on, and come back to Singapore. Almost, it is a 40,000 kilometer circumference. You can fit around about 8 billion grains. This concept, after this presentation, will be explained to you very, very intuitively and by step with great clarity. ఒక రైస్ విత్తనము 5 millimeter లెంగ్త్ అనుకుంటే ఈక్వెటోరియల్ సర్కంఫరెన్స్ లో ఎన్ని రైస్ విత్తనములు పెట్టవచ్చు, ఇముడుతాయి అనే కాన్సెప్ట్ ను మీ భవదీయుడు జొకారి తిరుపతి రెడ్డి జేటి రెడ్డి ఈ ప్రెజెంటేషన్ లో విశదీకరణ చేస్తాడు. I have posted these are the this is our rice grains chessboard series. We are in part 4, that is the equatorial rice grain chain. One trip contains round about 8 billion rice grains. 1 kilometer spans 2 million rice grains. There is a typo here, I will correct later. Assuming the length of the rice grain is 5 millimeters. And I will add the rest of the rice grains chessboard series soon. All these presentations I have posted at South Asia Maps J. Reddy Education Channel, YouTube channel. There are 750 or so presentations. 2025 February, I have binned them, partitioned them into round about 75 or so playlists. You can pick and choose the playlist of your choice. This is for your intellectual sojourn, enjoyment and understanding. All the concepts are immaculately researched, presented in the iconographic form. All the abstract ideas are explained very clearly. That is the uniqueness of our intellectual Kshatriya's channel, South Asia Maps J. Reddy. Mitrulara, before that, I have talked about how many rice grains we can span in a kilometer. From here to here, I assume is 1 kilometer. You can span 2 lakh rice grains. That is 0.2 million rice grains. That means if you make this 10 kilometers, we can span 2 million rice grains. That was explained very intuitively. You can look at them. what is the length of the rice grain? It varies. Say here they're saying rice grain vary in size. They have classified rice agronomy. That's not very critical for us. Extra long, medium, short length. I have assumed 5 millimeters. Why I have assumed 5 instead of somewhere 6 means it's very easy to do calculations. That is the purpose. Once you get this point, remaining things will be very intuitive and these numbers can vary little bit. That is not the critical point. We are targeting or trying to understand in this particular presentation. So what did we cover here? Let's say Earth's circumference is 40,000 plus square kilometers. We round it up to 40,000. Length of the rice grain is 5 millimeters. 1 kilometer contains 1,000 meters. Kilo means 1,000. 1 meter contains 1,000 millimeters. Milli means 1,000th part. That means you have 3 zeros here, 3 zeros here, 6 zeros, 1 followed by 6 zeros. 6 zeros is a 1 million, 9 zeros is 1 billion, 12 is trillion. T and T, remember 12 and trillion is zeros, trillion. 1 kilometer is 1 followed by 6 zeros is 1 million millimeter. Here 1 million millimeter. Here we have assumed the length of the rice grain 5 millimeter. You divide by 5. Numerator 1 million, denominator 5 millimeters, millimeter. You get round about 0.2 million grains. Length will span 1 kilometer distance, that is 2 followed by 5 zeros, or 0.2 followed by 6 zeros. 0.2 followed by 6 zeros is 0.2 million. That means there are round about 0.2 million grains in 1 kilometer. This is the kilometer. We have so many grains. You multiply by, this is again a kilometer. That is the equatorial circumference. We assume 40,000. So, remember there are the 4 zeros here. There are 5 zeros here. 4 plus 5 will be 9 zeros. You multiply 4 and 2, you get 8. That means 8 followed by 9 zeros. Is it very clear here? 8 followed by 3, 3, 3, 9 zeros. That many grains you can span on the equator putting one next to each other. That's what we did here. We took one grain like that. We are traveling the entire equator circumference. 8 followed by 9 zeros. 9 zeros is a billion. That means you can put 8 billion grains on the equatorial circumference. Billion is also called giga. Mega means million, 6 zeros. Giga means billion, that is 9 zeros. So I elaborated that aspect extensively before. You look at that before. Zeros. Mega is million, giga is billion, 9 zeros here, 6 zeros. That is the million, billion, trillion, quadrillion, quintillion, sextillion. That means trillion is tera, then peta and exa. You can remember Taipei, that is tera, peta, exa. Then remember Mongolia, that is mega and giga. So I will not belabor that again here. You can look at this. Just put it in the broader context. That means you can span 8 billion grains along the equator circumference. Or if you just adjust it, you can say even 9 billion grains, does not matter. That means if you take the biggest grain 10 millimeters, you can reduce that half. That means 4 billion or 4.5 billion. That does not really matter. What it matters really is there are 8 billion humans on the planet Earth as of 2022. I recorded this during the post-Pongal time, Mahasivaratri time, that is February 2025. There are 8.2 billion humans on the planet Earth. Just we round it up to 8 billion. That means you take the human being and reduce each human being into a small dot or rice grain and let them stand up along the equatorial circumference. You can fit all the human beings there. That what 8 billion grains, you remember 8 billion humans, 8 billion rice grains on the circumference, you will be in the right track. What does this? You take this is the chessboard. On the 33rd square, number of grains on that particular square is 4.2 billion. There are 9 almost zeros, right? You consider them zeros. Instead of 294 like that, we round it up to zeros. At that particular place, the entire chessboard contains 8.5 billion grains. We round it up to 8. That's what it is. On the 33rd board and entire chessboard at that particular place, you have to have the rice grains place them. That means you are placing them exactly on the equatorial circumference. That's what I have put it here intuitively, and here you see 1 kilometer contains zero point 0.2 million grains, 10 kilometers will be 2 million grains, 40,000 kilometers circumference, and 0.2 million grains per kilometer. You get the 8 followed by 9 zeros. That is the 8 billion humans on the planet Earth. This is the mega, giga, tera, peta, and exa. Million, billion, GB, trillion, and quadrillion, quintillion we talked about. In the next presentation, we'll see if you navigate to entire chessboard, that is 64 squares, and you will put all the rice grains in the entire board, how many trips you can navigate across the circumference. 2 billion equatorial rice grain tips. We'll look at that. Before that, remember, this is the square and the grains on the square and running total on the chessboard sword. Remember, you are going to put on the 24th square round about 8 million grains. On the 34th square, you have 8 billion grains. 8 billion grains or 8 billion humans, you can span the equatorial circumference on that particular square. That means the square before on the entire chessboard, that is the same. So this is, you can look in the both ways. This point I'll be articulating in many places, so you should get a clarity. The clarity means on the chessboard, when you put 4 billion grains on the 33, up to so far the chessboard contains 8 billion grains. That's what it is. Hope this made clear to you. In the next presentation, we will look the things in much more details. Thank you joining me today. Your presenter, Dr. Jogari Tirupati Reddy, South Asia Maps, Mitranam. If you like the presentation or you want to put in your comments, you are very welcome. And also you can bring this to the notice of your friends who have similar interest. Your presenter, Dr. J. Reddy.